Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So let us start with the chanting from verse number 1 up to verse number 4. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Na Chedevam Devo Na Khalu Kushala Spanditum Api Atastvamadhyam Harihara Virinchadibhirapi Pranantum Stotum Va Kathamakrita Punya Prabhavati. So in the first stanza, he talked about Shiva himself cannot have any spandanam, no vibration. In Shiva, in consciousness also, Shiva is pure consciousness. In pure consciousness also, there will be no stirring until the desire, that is Shakti, comes into play. Then in verse 2, Taniyam sampam sum tava charana panke ruha bhavam virinchas sanchinvan virachayati loka navikalam Vahatyenam shaurih kathamapi sahasrena shirasam harasam kshutyenam bhajati bhasitodhula navidhim. Now he talks about the dust from her feet, which is used by Brahma to create these innumerable number of worlds. Adishesha uses to carry this entire universe on his head, and Shiva uses it as bhasma to bring about his super consciousness state. Verse number 3. Avidyanamantastimiramihiraddvipanagari Jadanam chaitanyastabakamakaranda shrutijari Daridranam chintamani gunanika janma jaladhau Nimagnanam damshtram muraripu varahasya bhavati. So the dust, again, he continues, is like the rising sun. It removes all the darkness. Timira mihira dvipa nagari. So from the city of the rising sun, like that, it removes from the jada person, the person who is engrossed in tamas. He removes, he brings in chaitanya. Chaitanyam, the flowers she holds in her hand, if you remember, pushpabana. So pushpabana, those pushpabana is the chaitanya stabaka. Stabaka is the bouquet. And for those who are poor here does not mean materially poor. It is poor in their thinking, identifying with their limitations. Such people, chintamani gunanika, she gives all that is wanted. So such persons and those who are sunk in the ignorance, janma jaladhau. Jaladhau is sea, ocean of ignorance. Those who are nimagna, those who are immersed in such, like Varaha brought up the earth from the sea. Similarly, she raises them from there. Verse number 4. Twadanyah panibhyam abhayavaradau daivataganaha tameka naivasi prakatita varabhitya bhinaya hayatratum datum phalamapi cha vancha samadhikam sharanye lokanam tavahi charana veva nipuno. Your feet are enough. You do not need to display like other devatas the Abhaya Hasta, the Varada Hasta. Your feet alone are more than enough. The dust from your feet is more than enough for everyone to get across this ocean of existence, of material existence. Verse number 5, let us start learning. Haris Twamaradhya, Haris Twamaradhya, Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim, Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim, Haris Twamaradhya, Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim, Puranari Bhutva, Puraripumapi, Shobham Manayata, Puranari Bhutva, Puraripumapi, Shobham Manayat, Puranari Bhutva, Puraripumapi, Shobhamanayat, Haristwamaradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim, Puranari Bhutva, Puraripumapi, Shobhamanayat, Smaropi Tvam Natva, Smaropi Tvam Natva, Ratinayana Lehyena Vapusha, Ratinayana Lehyena Vapusha, Smaropi Tvam Natva, Ratinayana Lehyena Vapusha, Muninamapyanta, Prabhavatihi Mohaya Mahatam, Prabhavatihi Mohaya Mahatam, Muninamapyanta, Prabhavatihi Mohaya Mahatam, Smaropi Tvam Natva, Ratinayana Lehyena Vapusha, Muninamapyanta, Prabhavatihi Mohaya Mahatam, Haristwamaradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim, Puranari Bhutva Puraripumapi Shobhamanayat, Smaropi Tvam Natva Ratinayana Lehyena Vapusha, Muninamapyanta Prabhavatihi Mohaya Mahatam. Puraripu. Puraripu. Puraripu means enemy of a Pura. Ripu is enemy. Pura. Here Pura means Tripura. So Shiva is the Tripura, we say no, Tripurari. So he kills the Tripura. Ari means to kill. Tripurari, the enemy of the Tripuras. Tripura was an interesting concept. See, when Tarakasur was killed, his three sons, Tarakaksha, Kamalaksha, and Vidyunmali, all three were Shiva devotees. And in the very strong devotion to Shiva, they manifested Brahma. And as usual, all the asuras, the first thing they ask for is immortality. And obviously, Brahma has to say, sorry, you were born, so you will have to die. Janmasyahi dhruvo mrityuhu, Gita says. Anyone who is born will die. So, sorry, that is something I cannot give you, but you can choose how you want to die. Okay, so please give us the capacity to build 3 cities. The 3 cities, one will be made of gold, one will be made of silver, the third will be made of iron. We will rule each of these 3 cities. The 3 cities will roam around in this universe at random. In the random movement, only if in the random movement at some point of time when they all 3 align together, the 3 cities can be destroyed only with 1 arrow. Only in such a case can the 3 of us die. So, fine. Brahma had to say yes. Now they went, all the 3 cities started roaming around. So they would float, they would go to some other place, they would settle down on that place, so killing that particular place. So they were doing all the oppressive things. At the same time, they were very clearly, fully in devotion to Shiva. Now, the only person who can possibly destroy all the 3 together was Shiva himself. So all the devatas went to Shiva and said, please, we need our help. He said, no, these people are my devotees. I can't do anything with them. So now Vishnu took on the form of Buddha. Now, this is not Gautama Buddha. So, and he took on the form of Buddha and he went there and he started spreading the Charvaka Niti. Charvaka Niti says this is the material universe, is the only universe. Right? Rinam Kritva Gritam Pivet Yavat Jivet Sukham Jivet. Bhasmi Bhutasya Dehasya Kutah Puna Agamaha. He says, Rinam Kritva, take loans and drink ghee. Ritam Pivet. Bhasmi Bhutasya Dehasya, this body will become Bhasma. Who has seen anything come back? So enjoy, full-fledged enjoyment. Now he started spreading this particular message and people started believing him and therefore the Shiva worship collapsed. When Shiva worship collapsed, why would a devotee leave his worship of his Ishta? Because he is not worshipping the Ishta for something greater than himself. He is worshipping the Ishta for himself. I want, I want, I want. That devotion is also devotion, but it is a much lower level of devotion. And in that lower level of devotion, it is easy to fall off that devotion. Oh, I want to be free from disease. You worship, you do 41 days of whatever kriya or something, it does not happen. Oh, this deity is useless. Now I will go to XYZ, I will go to Vaidyanathan. Vaidyanathan Swami also does not cure you. Oh, I will go to Shabarimalai. This will not work. Transactional behavior. Such devotion is easy to fall off. So they fell off from this. So now Shiva was ready. So they had to create the entire one arrow. So this arrow was, it's a very beautiful description in Shiva Purana. So the arrow was created, the earth forms the chariot. The sun and the moon form the wheels. Brahma is the person who is running the charioteer. The four Vedas become the four horses. Vishnu becomes the tip of the arrow. So on and so forth. So the entire cosmos comes together in the hands of Shiva, and all the devas, they add on their power to Shiva, and hence Shiva is called Mahadeva. Because the devas added on their power, he became greater. So Mahadeva. And then he stands on his chariot, which is the earth, and he uses this one arrow and he kills all the Tripuras. Purarapi. Puraripu. Puraripu means enemy. Now, what is the shloka saying here? Saying that this Puraripu, in the ancient days, Pura, Nari Bhutva, took the form of a woman. Who? Hari. Hari means Vishnu. Twamaradhya, by worshipping you. You, who are you? You Pranata Jana Saubhagya Dayini. Anybody who is born gets Saubhagya from you. You are the mother of the of Saubhagya. By worshipping you in the ancient days, Hari took on the form of a woman. Now, in Lalita Upakhyanam, we have seen that she during Samudra Manthan. So there are three separate instances in various Puranas where Vishnu takes the form of Mohini. Now, see the beauty of this. Mohini Roop, to take on the Roop of Mohini, Hari does Aradhana of Devi. Hari Swamaradhya. By worshipping you, you who are the fountainhead of all auspicious things. In the ancient days, he took on the form of a woman and he made even that ferocious being who could destroy the Tripuras fall in love. So the three different occasions, one is Samudra Manthan. So after the Samudra Manthan, during the Samudra Manthan, the halahal came out. Shiva drank that, became Nilakantha, went back to Kailash. There is a side story here. Apparently, his throat started burning and he had to take the form of a child and go to Tarapit, where Devi was there, and drink milk from her breasts. Only then she could, his throat burning could subside. Tarapit is a place where he has done this. So the Swayambhu stone, you have to imagine it a little bit, but it depicts that sort of image. So Shiva was in Kailash, and all the devatas were going back after Samudra Manthan. They have had their Amrita and all that. They were going back and they were all praising Mohini. So Shiva asked, who is this Mohini? I've never heard of her. So they said, hey, you don't know, one beautiful woman, and so on and so forth. So he says, this must be Vishnu. So he caught hold of Vishnu and he said, Vishnu, you have to show me this form. So Vishnu again did Aradhana of Lalita and he became Mohini. And she entranced even Shiva. Another time when Vishnu has taken the form of Mohini was with Bhasmasura. So Bhasmasura got a blessing from Shiva himself that anybody on whom he places his right hand, that person will become Bhasma. And Shiva now, the Bhasmasura says, let me try it on you. Now Mohini came. Mohini said, okay, I will, you have to marry me, you have to marry me. So fine, you have to win in a dance competition. So they start dancing. And in the dance mudra, she takes and she puts her hand on her forehead, or on her head. She does this mudra. And he also does that, copying her. And the moment he does that, he becomes Bhasma. In Uttarakhand, where we go, there is a place where Bhasmasur supposed to have been destroyed. So one of the places is there. So that is the second time. The third time is when there was a place where this is a place supposed to be somewhere near Chidambaram, where there was a bunch of rishis who were very proud of their knowledge. And they, to destroy their pride, and they used to live with their rishikas, their wives. Then the Shiva goes there in the form of a Bhikshatana. Bhikshatana means the person who is a beggar. He had a bowl made out of a skull in his hand. He had a trishul and he was completely nude. And he went towards the huts of the rishis. And all the rishikas, the rishi patnis, they became enamored of him and they started going behind him. In the meanwhile, Vishnu took on the form of Mohini and she went towards the rishis who were doing yagya, and they stopped their yagya and started running after. So now the rishis afterwards realized that the rishi patnis are also running after some unknown man. So they got angry, forgetting the fact that they were running after some unknown woman and they wanted to curse the ladies. So the Bhikshatana says, why are you cursing them? I am the reason, curse me. So then they produced flames. When they produced those flames, the flames encircled the being, Bhikshatana. Then they produced a demon. Bhikshatana took that demon and he put his leg on it. They produced a tiger. He ripped apart the tiger and wore the bleeding skin on his own body. And he started dancing the Ananda Tandava. So you see the picture of the Ananda Tandava. He's standing on the small demon called Mara. And then there is a ring of fire. And he's wearing a skin. And he took on his four-handed form of Damaru, and the deer held in one hand. Deer is the mind. The deer is always moving around. So it is like the mind. So it is held without being moving. And time, which is indicated by the Chandra. So Chandrakala. So Chandrakala Vibhushitam, Chaturhastam. And he held the Damaru, which is Nadam. So he holds the Damaru, and with one hand, he points to his own feet. And the other hand, he shows the Abhaya Mudra, saying that you are in Abhayam when you fall at my feet. And he lifts his foot to show that this is the foot that you need to surrender to. So that is the Ananda Tandava of Shiva. It was possible because of Mohini. So Mohini took on this beautiful form, and it is said that he took on 1/16th part of Lalita's beauty to become Mohini. So that 1/16th part he has taken. Continuing from there, in the second and the third and fourth lines, he says, Acharya says, Smaropi tvam natva rati nayana lehena vapusha. So the smara, the word smara is very interesting. Smara means recollection. Smara means memory. Smara also means sexual love. Smara also means the lust for another being. But smara also means relationship. So in astrology, there are 12 houses. The 12 houses are named. The 7th house is supposed to govern relationships, and that house is called Smara. Smara is also somebody who can expound the Vedas. He is called Smara, because expounding the Vedas requires memory. Rati is enjoyment. Rati looks at Smara. Nayana lehyena. Lehyam in Ayurveda is a paste. How do you eat a paste? You lick it. So her eyes are licking the form of Smara. Her eyes cannot move, so they are completely engrossed on the form of Smara. Where did Smara get his beauty from? From you. Now, very beautifully, you see, Hari is the Acharya of the first Kuta of the Panchadashi Stotra. Kaya, Ila, Reem, that first, it is the first. So the 3 Kutas we have seen, right? There are 3 lines to the Panchadashi mantra. In Sri Vidya, we have seen that the 15-lettered mantra, the first line. And we have also seen that the first line is the head part, the second line is the body part, the third line is the... So these 3 parts, so Vag Kuta, Shakti Kuta, etc., right? So these are called Kutas. These Kuta, the first Kuta has an Acharya, a Rishi, and it is Vishnu. So that is one. But Smara is the Rishi for the Shodashi, the 16th letter, the Purnata, where the mantra Sreem is added. The letter Sreem is added, and he is the Rishi for that. Manmatha is also listed as one of the biggest devotees of Devi, which is why she raised him back after Bhandasur incident happened. She rejuvenated Smara. The problem with Bhandasur was that he had withdrawn the juice of life from everybody. And the juice of life comes from Manmatha. Manmatha. He who makes your mind disturbed. But at the same time, he is also Smara, which means he is also recollection. He is also Kama. Kama can be of lower, can be higher. Right? Because she is Kameshwari. He is Kameshwara. So that Smara, here, his beauty also comes from her. Is what Acharya is saying. And your beauty is such that even in the minds of sages, they get disturbed when they get your form. Now, this we have seen in our very historic times, very, very recent times. We have seen that with Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa himself. The beauty of her form was such that he was unable to transcend that till he took on that sankalpa of going beyond. Until then, he was getting stuck. So even great sages, Avatar Purusha like Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, was getting stuck in the beauty of Devi herself. Let us look at the shloka once more. Haristwamaradhya pranata jana saubhagya jananim Puranari bhutva puraripumapi kshobham manayat Smaropi tvam natva ratinayana lehyena vapusha muninamapyantah prabhavatihi mohaya mahatam. You have to be careful with the matras. So, pura, not pura. Pura, nari, puraripu mapi. Smaropi, right? Rati. Then muninam apyanta. And the visarga in the middle, it is aspirated. Muninam apyanta prabhavatihi mohaya mahatam. Not mahatama, mahatam. So haristwamaradhya pranata jana saubhagya jananim puranari bhutva puraripumapi kshobham manayat Smaropi tvam natva rati nayana lehyena vapusha muninamapyantah prabhavatihi mohaya mahatam. So this is the 5th shloka. Next, we should look at the seventh shloka of the seventh shloka of the Rajarajeshwari. So let us look at that. Amba Shashvatagamadi Vinuta Arya Mahadevata. Amba Shashvatagamadi Vinuta Arya Mahadevata. Ya Brahmadi Pipilakanta Janani. Ya Vai Jagan Mohini. Ya Brahmadi Pipilakanta Janani. Ya Vai Jagan Mohini. Ya Pancha Pranavadi Refa Janani. Ya Chit Kala Malini. Ya Pancha Pranavadi Refa Janani. Ya Chit Kala Malini. Chitrupi Paradevata Bhagavati Shri Rajarajeshwari. Amba Shashvatagamadi Vinuta Arya Mahadevata. Ya Brahmadi Pipilakanta Janani. Ya Vai Jagan Mohini. Ya Pancha Pranavadi Refa Janani. Ya Chit Kala Malini. Chitrupi Paradevata Bhagavati Shri Rajarajeshwari. Amba, we know, Shashvata is eternal. Now, the meaning can be interpreted in two ways. Amba Shashvata, eternal mother. Another way of saying is Shashvata Agamadi Vinuta, eternal Agamas, which is the Vedas, Veda, Agama, etc., the scriptures. Shashvata Agamadi Vinuta. Agamadi means Agama, along with the Agamas, the Vedas, and everything is included, Adi, etc. Shashvata Agamadi Vinuta. Vinuta means bowed down, praised by. So Amba Shashvata Agamadi Vinuta. One way, Amba Shashvata Agamadi Vinuta. That is another way. Arya. Arya means noble one. Mahadevata. So she who is the greatest Devata. Ya Brahmadi Pipilikanta. Brahmadi Pipilikanta. Up from the beginning of Brahma, Brahmadi, from Brahma, etc., to the lowest ant, Pipilakanta Janani. Now we have seen this exact name in the Lalita Sahasranam also. Chatur Varnashrama Vidayini, right? Brahmadi Pipilakanta Janani, Chatur Varnashrama Vidayini. So, and we have seen, I've told you the story of also of this particular two lines, right? Sri Aurobindo wanted to do Chandi Homam and so on and so forth. I've told you this story. So, Brahmadi Pipilakanta Janani. So, she is the mother of the entire, everything that is alive and conscious. And yet, she also entrances this world. She deludes this world in the form of Adi Prakriti. So, she, Yavai Jagan Mohini. She creates Moha. And she deludes this entire world. And we believe that, oh, I am the body and I am the mind and I am the intellect and so on and so forth. Ya Pancha Pranavadi Refa Janani. She is the mother of the 5 Pranava. Now, Pranava essentially, typically, generally means the Omkara. Now, here we have got, she is already Omkari. We have seen in the earlier shloka, we have seen that she is called Omkari. Now, here we are getting the 5 Pranavas. Aim, Reem, Shreem, Kleem, Sau. These are the 5 Bija Aksharas which we have seen repeatedly. Aim, Kleem, Sau we have seen while we are chanting the Lalita Sahasranam, right? And Shreem and Reem are 2 extra. Aim, Kleem, Sau is there, and then Reem, Shreem. These are the 5 Bija Aksharas also equivalent to the Omkara, and hence Pancha Pranava Refa Janani. Ya Chit Kala Malini. She is garlanded with consciousness. Her consciousness is there. So if you look at how is consciousness expressed, it is expressed through Varna, through sound. Consciousness is expressed through Nada. If you look at the image of Kali, she wears a mundamala, and the number of mundas is equal to the number of letters in the Sanskrit language. So these mundas are not heads of asuras and all that. That is for children. We have to understand that this is she wears sound as an ornament, which means she is the mother of creation, because creation happens through, the first creation happens through sound creating space, right? How this prapancha came about, we have seen that earlier also. So sound created space, which created touch, which created air, so on and so forth. So the tanmatras come from the previous Mahabhuta, and these tanmatras create their relevant Mahabhuta. The Mahabhuta creates the next tanmatra, and so on and so forth. This entire universe gets created. But where does it begin? With sound. Where is sound? She wears that sound in the form of consciousness. Chitkala Malini. Chidrupi Paradevata Bhagavati Sri Raja Rajeshwari. So that is the end for today. Any questions, doubts?
Questions basically is from my visit.
Yes, please.
So we went to this place called 64 Chausat Yogini Temple.
Okay.
Where they said that Pujari who was there, one young person, he said that she is Mahamaya, and they are the Chausat Yogini, which are representatives of Parvati. But I remember that you had told us about Chausat Yogini before. So I was not able to, I was quite confused, because here I see everything, the form, when you look into it very closely, she's standing on some animal, she's holding something different. And even the Ganesha Murti was like a woman, like, 64. It was like, Ganesha with huge breasts and all that. So it's a female representation of Ganesha. So like that, there were 56, and then 4. That makes it 60. And another 4 in the pillars, which makes it 64.
Okay.
So I was not able to kind of...
So these yoginis were created as during her battles, she manifested these beings from herself. Actually, in one of the stories, it goes that when she was fighting, Nishumbha had been killed. Now Shumbha alone was left, and she had all these. She had Kaumari, Varahi, Narasimhi, Aindri. They were all moving around with her. Aindri was riding on the Airavat. Kaumari was riding on a peacock. Brahmi was riding on the on a swan, and so on and so forth. So Shumba says, "Now I am alone. All my generals are dead. Why are you fighting? Let us fight 1 to 1." And she smiles, and all these just get absorbed back into her. So Chausat Yogini, Chatushashti Yogini Ganasevita. That is the name we say in the Lalita Sahasranama, right? So she is who is worshipped by Chausat Yogini, she who is worshipped by her own manifestations in the form of Prakriti. So even this Vagwadini Devis, right? The Devis who created the Lalita Sahasranamam, who are they? They are she herself, but in a limited formation, in the form of a particular power only of Bhagwadini. So in that form, she is being worshipped over there. And therefore, Chausat Yogini also are basically the partial manifestations of the Devi. So when you are seeing a female Ganesha, it is not a female Ganesha. It is a Yogini with the head of an elephant. Then you will find a Yogini with the head of a boar, a Yogini with the head of a lion. These are all these Yoginis who are partial manifestations of Devi. You are on mute.
Maya. Mahamaya. Why do they say Mahamaya?
So Mahamaya is a name that is given to her. She is, after all, she is Adi Prakriti. So the moment she causes Spandanam, there is Vimarsha. Vimarsha means the division starts happening. When the division starts happening, she occludes right? We have seen that she has 5 functions: creation, sustenance, destruction, hiding, right? Tirodhanam, right? Hiding, and also revealing. When she moves towards this, when she moves, if you look at the, if you look at the Sri Chakram, then the movement from the Bindu towards the Bhupura, from the center towards the external, is Vimarsha. And all of it is Bindu only, but we see it as different forms. In that form of what is, so Ya, Ma, Sa, Maya, that is the meaning. Maya means that which is not, that which does not exist, but yet she exists. Why? Because she is projecting, and in that projection we get trapped. And since she traps this entire universe, why Jagan Mohini? She is Mahamaya. Hence her name comes as Mahamaya.
Powerful experience. Of course, Kolkata also we have experienced it very differently. But here, like Bagalamukhi and all those Pandits who were doing seva there, not the people who were asking money. These were the people who were genuinely, decorating. Oh my God, when we reached certain places, they were putting the chandan on her face, the eyes, the kajal, the decoration. Like, I just was crying like a child, especially at that Bimala Devi temple. Something very, very, I don't want to. I don't want to even imagine what happened or forget about it as it, I don't want to dissect it or anything. It was very, very powerful experience which happened there. And in one other place, the Devi's image was so powerful. She was this huge. In that Lingaraja temple, there was a Devi. I only was looking at her feet, and one anklet was put on her feet, this big feet. I didn't want to go beyond it. I was in tears just looking at the toe nail. So then Subbu was looking at me and he said, "What is it that you're looking at and you're all tearing up?" I said, "It's okay." And one pujari who was doing the Somanath Lingaka, he was offering water and vilva and all to the Somanath Linga. Inside
Lingaraj.
Lingaraj, in the Lingaraja temple, there are outside lingas.
Okay.
One pujari was there. Then he saw me all teary-eyed and all. He started weeping. And when I look at him, he reminded me of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, his face. And he was like a dark person weeping. And then he asked me to come inside and offer water and vilva. So it was a very... this experience has left me with so much. It was something else. It was very beautiful experience. I highly recommend people to go to Orissa and experience. In Puri, it was Bimala Devi who touched me much, much profoundly than Jagannath Ji. Jagannath Ji darshan happened only after we were thrown out of the crowd and we went to Bimala Devi first. Until then, we were both irritable and literally chewing up each other in the crowd. She took us from there, from that stressed out environment in which Subbu was ranting. We went to her without knowing where we were walking, and only 2 of us in the temple, where the pujari was decorating her, and I was all tears.
Did you manage to go a little up and see the Narasimha Murti also?
Yes.
That's another very powerful Murti.
Beautiful. Very. Oh. Wahan pe I felt like Bhakta Prahalada was there. Something and all happened in that place. Something. I don't know what it was, but very powerful.
That place got discovered. Actually, what happened is when the whole of the Gopuram is very, very intricately carved. And to protect that carving from being destroyed by the Muslim invaders, they covered the whole thing in plaster of Paris. So over the years, they have managed to now remove that plaster of Paris. Now, one of the things that happened over there was it was very serendipitous or coincidental. As I always say, there are no coincidences. And I was in the temple premises when one slab of this plaster of Paris fell down. And I was not very old. I mean, I must have been possibly 14 or 15 at that point of time. And it fell down. And it revealed this niche. And immediately somebody put up a ladder, and I was amongst the first, possibly the 100 people who went up there, and we saw this image inside covered. It was covered for centuries with plaster of Paris and just got revealed at that point of time. And then they redid the whole thing and they re-established the pujas there and so on and so forth. So it was that Narasimha Murthy has a very special attraction for me. One, obviously, because of Prahlad, and therefore my attraction to Narasimha, and then the fact that it got revealed in my presence. I was physically standing there when that slab fell. So after which they put up all these barricades, and then they started removing it in a structured way so that it would not disturb the thing behind. Jagannath is a very powerful temple. It's a very, very powerful.
The temples surrounding Jagannath, there's so much. Mahalakshmi, then there is Bhuma Devi, Saraswati, all the small Ganesha, that kind of a Ganesha. Oof. Subbu is always attracted to Ganesha. Wherever he goes, he will be staring like that, like one lost person. So he only took me to that Narasimha Murthy place. I was already in a different world, completely lost, walking on my own, doing whatever. He said, come here, come here.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.